Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
Querendus.
Hello.
Calabathian.
Hello.
And Arendus.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. We've got a full crew this week.
Yay. Woo.
Yay. Yes. Now let's head into our news this week, where our game news, we actually have some this week, and the first of these is that the Lord of the Rings Online and DDO will be free until April 30th. And by free, I mean any content that is currently locked by a paywall, you'll be able to pay, you'll be able to do as if you're VIP. Note that this does not give you VIP status, which means you don't get all those perks that you get with VIP. This just unlocks all of the content, such as the quests, the deeds, and things like that.
And skirmishes.
Oh, and skirmishes, of course. We can't forget the skirmishes and the instances. Which really makes it convenient under some circumstances, because very often on Friday night fights we have the problem where, alright, this person did not buy the skirmishes, so therefore we don't have those available, and this person didn't do the epic, so we have only 2 skirmishes that we
Yeah, you still have to do the epic to unlock those skirmishes.
Yes, you do have to do the epic ones, but at the very least, we would have more than 2 skirmishes available. We could now have half of them available. And that is, of course, until April 30th. And in addition to this, there are some other things, because here is the full notice from Standing Stone Games. I wish I need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf. And so do all who live in such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. And that is, of course, from The Lord of the Rings. And the message is, here at Standing Stone Games, our goal is to bring joy to everyone through our games, as we feel that it is more important than ever. We are making all our adventures and stories open to everyone through April 30th. In addition, we will be running extra events for the games. For Dungeons & Dragons Online, all dungeons and raids, including those expansion packs, are open to everyone through April 30th. The Buddy Bonus 5% XP will be active from March 20th through March 29th. This will be in addition to the weekend events. Mimic event will be active starting March 26th through April 6th, and anniversary event will be active from March 26th through April 30th. Now, of course, most of the listeners here are probably more interested in what's going on the Lord of the Rings Online side. All quests, instances, and skirmishes, including those in expansion packs, are open to everyone through April 30th. Now, this means that if you wanted to do that part of the epic storyline from Helm's Deep that is locked behind the paywall, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
The Curator will be returning starting March 26th through April 30th. There will be a 10% Virtue XP bonus starting from March 26th through April 6th. And the Baggins birthday event will be available from March 26th through April 6th. During this time, we hope that everyone stays safe. Thank you. And that was a post by Severlin, the executive producer for The Lord of the Rings Online and for Dungeons & Dragons Online. And on top of that, we had not one, but 2 game patches. And those are updates 25.4.2, which was released on Tuesday, March 17th, where they added the content they needed for the Spring Festival, which added an elk mount, a dress, tunic, outfit, and mantle avatar cosmetics, a shrew mouse house, and several ivy housing decorations, and a goose, rabbit, and hawk cosmetic pets. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to try out any of these.
I checked out the cosmetics. They're kind of nice.
I have the elk mount. It still sounds like a cow.
It definitely
But
moves
it's
in
very
my ear.
pretty. It's very pretty.
All right. I haven't had a chance to do anything with any of them yet. And as for quests and adventure areas, Minas Morgul Remerhant, they fix an issue where one of Ganagal's arena doors would stay closed on reset. The progression quest bestowed by Celeborn within Remerhant, used to simulate raid locks through multiple raid sessions, has been renamed on all tiers to Conquering the Remerhant. And basic instance quests have been added for tiers 1 to 3 of Remerhant, similar to those in the instance clusters, as an additional means to track progress within a single raid. And Fight will now correctly reset its players are surrounding Brashka following a reset. And in Eastern Rohan, Norcrofts, the Riders, for instance, wary riders will no longer become stuck before the final objective. So they have reopened up that particular instance. And also they fixed an issue where stat attribute enhancement ranks 2 through 20 were not always applying to a bonus in the relevant stat. And for real this time, elves and high elves now have different runekeeper idols depending on the visibility setting of the rune satchel in the cosmetic outfit.
I love it. For real this time.
Anyone have a chance to check that out?
No, I forgot to log in my Runekeeper.
Okay. And landscape performance improvements are being temporarily disabled, and that's because it was causing a separate display issue, which some people dislike even more than the landscape performance updates. So that is being disabled until they manage to get that all working right. Then on Thursday, they released 25.4.3, which probably included the switches they needed for the little announcement we just gave earlier, plus also fixed a few things that they discovered after Tuesday. And the raid Remerhant, the Net of Darkness, will become available at Tier 3 beginning Thursday, March 26th at the standard reset times, which is 3 a.m. server time. Loot drops from the raid, Remerhant, and the Net of Darkness are given in the release notes, and I think that'll just probably glaze your eyes, so I'm just going to skip over that. And deeds. The deed Remerhant, the Net of Darkness, the Vanguard is available for Tier 2 completion of the raid through April 26th, and Tier 3 completion deed is not yet available. Once available, that would have the same date. And incomparable raid gear is now available from the Remerhant Quartermasters if you have completed the Tier 1 deed, and Adventurer's gear is now based on item level 417, with the chance to create one of 422. And those are the release notes. Now, we did not have a beacon this week because Cordovan was off this week. He did announce that last week that he would not be in this week, so there was no Court of the Rings and there was no beacon this week. So we should have those back for next week. So let's head into the store sales. And Terry, what's on sale this week?
Well, we got a 25% off shared wardrobe, cosmetic outfit slots, except for the last one. Mounted combat trait and cosmetic slots, select cosmetics, now through March 26th, and with every cosmetic sale, the caveat is make sure that it is a store exclusive and you can't get it somewhere else in game before you spend LOTRO points on it.
Right.
The weekly coupon is 100% Craft XP with coupon code XPCraft. Now through March 26th.
All right, thank you. And then it's time for us to head into our site news. And we will begin with Squirrel's article, Minas Morgul Primer 1.0. And in this, he goes over the content that you have, some walkthrough links, some questing, and some gearing up before Minas Morgul activities after 1:30, weekly and dailies for Reclamation of Minas Ithil, instance overview, loot overview, crafting guild, and some bullet point information. Talks about everything you need to know relating to the Minas Morgul update.
Yeah, it's actually a really good primer. I went through it, just kind of skimmed through it a little bit ago.
There you go. Anyone else have a chance to do anything with this?
I agree with Terry. I kind of just poked through it, and it's really thorough from what I can see.
Right, and that will help you then if you're having any questions about what needs to be done, which, since I haven't done anything in Minas Morgul in the last couple of weeks, it might be a good idea if I do keep track of that so that I'll know where to go when I'm in the mood to do some stuff at the top level, because I'm doing the stuff with Terry and Sans when we have our sessions there, where we're up to Minas Morgul in there, but my other two characters that I've taken through the area, they have not yet done anything beyond the time where we finished the Black Book. Perhaps I should get around to doing that at some point. But let's head into our new player question. Who's our question this week?
It's from me.
All right, what's the question?
The question is, what are shards and starlit crystals used for? I keep seeing them and hearing of them, but I'm not exactly sure what they're used for.
All right. We could begin with the starlit crystals. The starlit crystal is an item that you add to your legendary item. And you'll notice that if you look at a legendary item, at least one that hasn't been imbued yet, you'll see that there are these 3 stars that are in, I think it's in the upper left of it, where these 3 stars represent starlit crystals. So what happens if you right-click on a starlit crystal and then select that particular item in there, it will light up that star and it enhances the primary legacy for that item. So therefore, if it's a weapon, it'll give more damage for the weapon, for example. So it's a way to improve your weapon so that it's more effective than when you first got it. Now, you have some starter crystals that are capped on the level of the item that they could affect. So if you have a level 75 starlit crystal, you could plop it onto a starlit crystal that is level 75 or lower. When I use a starlit crystal, I tend to put it onto one that is at the maximum of whatever it is. For example, I'm not going to take a level 100 starlit crystal and pop it onto a level 50 LI. Instead, I just bank it, because those starlit crystals are also very useful when you have an imbued item, because when you have an imbued item, then it's one of the things that you level up on there. So you'll need Because before you imbue something, there's a cap of 3 starlight crystals that you can put onto it. But when you imbue it, the cap is a lot higher, and you use that in order to raise your potential damage that you're going to be doing. Or whatever is the other item that you're doing is going to give you. Because, for example, minstrel books, for example, are going to allow you to do better healing, most likely.
Yes.
So that's the thing in which to keep it. Whatever your primary legacy does, that's what's going to be improved as a result of it. So in some ways, it almost acts as if it treats your item almost as if it were a higher level than it was. I think at least in the early days that it almost literally did that, where it would give the bump as much as if you were added a level to it. Though I'm sure things have
if you look at
changed a bit since then.
If you look at the a brand new level 100 ally, and then you look at a level 130 bow, say you get an ally bow and you get a landscape bow or an ally sword and a landscape sword, you're going to look at them and say, oh, the landscape one is way better. And then once you imbue it and you level it up, you're like, well, it's better than it was, but the landscape one is way better. But then when you add all the starlit crystals, they get to be about the same DPS. But your ally still has all the legacies that increase your class damage and your class skills. So without the crystals, your allies are not nearly as powerful as the landscape weapons at higher levels.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Now, as for shards, we're talking about the shards that you get when you deconstruct an ally.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just making sure that I was getting my terminology right. Those are, well, obviously I already said that how you get them, or at least one of the common ways to get them is by deconstructing things. But essentially what you have is when you use these shards is you could use them with the relic handler for the one who does the, what's it? The relic master? Yes. If you talk to the relic master, there is a tab on there where you can select, and when you're on that page, you're able to construct those shards into things. Like one of the things you do is to create an ally, unidentified third ager from there, for example, is one of the things you can get. And you could also be able to create some relics from it. So there are various things that you could do with it. You have to look at the tab to see the full things. Have you used that much, Sans?
The crafting thing?
Yeah, the thing where you construct things using the relic master.
I used it some. It's very expensive though.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
You can also use it in order to turn a relic into a different type of relic. So if you have X number of relics that are tier 8, but you don't have the one that you need at tier 8, you can use those existing relics plus some shards to make the relic that you actually need.
Yeah, and I've used it to make some for my bridle. I don't know that it was actually necessary, but it was fun. After a point, you don't actually need to keep leveling those up unless you need the shards for something like the Scroll of Delving or a new ally. In which case, if you tier up everything to level 5, it starts to become profitable to deconstruct it. To smash it down into the shards. So the tier 1 relics only give you 1 shard. But if you get to the tier 5 relics, they give you quite a few more shards. I don't remember the exact number, but it's a lot more than 5. So it's worth tiering them up to 5 before you start smashing them.
Okay.
On the higher ones give more, but they're also better on your allies, so depending on what level you are, you might want to keep them, or you might be willing to smash them because once you've gotten to the high enough levels to equip the relics that you can get from the barterers, you probably aren't going to want those anymore anyway, because like the ones you can get in Udun are way better than anything you can tier up from the Relic Master. So,
Got it. Okay.
but it does cost money, so pay attention.
Yeah.
Because you can blow through a ton of gold without realizing it, and then be like, wait, why am I broke? Why can't I deconstruct this one thing? And you're like, oh, I've got like 3 silver.
Oh no.
Be careful. I didn't get all the way down to 3 silver, but I definitely blew through 10 gold before I noticed once.
Ooh,
So,
that hurts.
Yeah, that does happen quite a bit. I know there have been a couple of times when I've been desperately looking for an LI at a particular level where I wound up resorting to going to the relic. Usually I sometimes check at the auction house, I check at the skirmish camp if it's one that can be gotten for marks, and then third place I would check then is, can I get it at the Relic Master? And
if you have a crafter, you can technically craft yourself a third age ally, but it's probably not worth the crafting mats. So,
well, there is that too. It's just
so you can look at the recipe and decide if it's worth it to you compared to using the shards. But
well, if you're going to craft it, you might as well make a second ager.
Right? Or even a first, depending on which tier and how hard it is to get the materials.
Well, yes, it is. I'm assuming that if you're asking this question, you're probably not someone who's going to have ready access to first age symbols.
Well, the first ones you can just get from the skirmish camp, though.
Yeah, everything except the top tier you
except
can
the
actually
top
get from
tier.
skirmish camp.
Yeah, you got the point on that one.
And the top tier you can get from going roving threat hunting or something. So, if anybody needs help roving threat hunting, I know some good tricks and would be happy to help if I'm around.
Yes. Though occasionally you get some amusing results.
I mean, usually they go smash into the ground and then you walk away richer. But sometimes you walk away with a repair bill. Or limp away. Or get death ported away. Not that I know very much about that or anything after running head first into a dragon once. On a live stream. Yeah.
Yeah. And as we said earlier, we have the Spring Festivals open, and of course, Firebro Jedi once again has a full guide telling us what is new at the Spring Festival for 2020, as well as reminding us of all the other things that go on there, including a map of the maze in case you have any trouble with getting that.
Which is great for those of us who are extremely directionally challenged.
Especially since they blurred the maze out again this year.
I know.
It out.
Last year, for some reason, it wasn't, and I had a lot of my friends and my kin going, "Oh, this is great," but it's blurred again.
Oopsie daisy.
So here's the weird thing with me is that I can get lost in you go into a supply closet. This maze actually run enough. It's like I know how to get there. Just like I could probably do it in my sleep, and I'm like I don't understand this gigantic gap here. It's like, okay, and do I get easily lost or do I not? I mean.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get lost in there. So if you need help with all that, then head for Fibro Jedi's Guide. Now let's head into our weekend LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
I actually had let's see, what was I up to? Well, I didn't do Terry at all this week because things, but Sarissa did a little bit of questing in Gondor. So I was having trouble after the update on Tuesday maintaining a connection to the game. For some reason, it kept crashing on me. So I would run a little bit and then crash and reboot and run a little bit and then crash. But Sarissa did manage to finish out the story of the River Sisters in Eastern Gondor, which was really, really... it's the second time I've done it because I kind of rushed through Gondor on a couple other characters who've been through there. So she's my second character to do it since Terry, and I forgot how much I really enjoyed that story. I remembered to stay out of the water in the final instance so I didn't die completely because I was watching my morale drop. I'm like, why is my morale... Oh, right, get out of the water. So, yeah, that is still not a fun instance for a burglar because really you want to open your fights in stealth and you really can't for instances like that. But I managed to get through it because, the River Sisters are pretty set on keeping you alive. So, yay. Thanks. And then Prancerella led the way through finishing up the man version of the prologue. And we met the game's slowest character as a group.
Boy.
It's fun doing that as a group, though, because everybody can complain about it at the same time because you're all in the same thing. And I taught them a couple of trips for surviving. Well, not really surviving, but maintaining your sanity while you're waiting for Sarah Oakart to poke her way out the door. Like it's easier. It's actually easier with at least two people because then you can split up. Because when you first go in, you have to talk to Skunkwood before they'll open the door in the second half of the instance. So if one of you goes toward the door and one of you goes to talk to Skunkwood, the other person can be through the blah, blah, blah at the door while the first person is running away from Skunkwood. So, yeah, just a couple of little time saving because otherwise, at solo, that instance takes a minimum of 8 minutes. I timed it once because I was really bored. Because, Sarah Oakart. And then it's festival season, yay! So I thought out my elf Minnie because she's been in Frostbluff since Yule Fest, and I traded in some leftover Yule tokens to start spring questing, yay! Because I have characters that are going to need a goat. And I don't know yet if I want the elk, but I definitely need that last year's goat on more characters than the burglar that I've got it on. So that was my week. Calabathian, how about you?
Let's see here. Well, I took Glompla. I know I don't usually play her except with you guys, but I took Glompla out today through the Spring Festival, just enough to get leaves to get the fish slap emote because she's already been dual wielding fish. She just didn't have the emote. So now she does. Now she's dual wielding fish and attitude, especially versus Mr. Let's go get my roast. I'm still salty about that. That was no. No.
Didn't like the minstrel class quest?
No. I'm still to the point. I'm just No, it's like you called me over here to help this dude when you could have done it yourself. And then you want me to write a song about how I saved this man's lunch and from rogues and burglars and thieves and brigands. And I just the end of that was really hilarious because everybody come running up, all these other brigands come running up like, oh, can I have a slice? And I see that all the time in my classrooms when I'm teaching is, somebody busts out like the hot Cheetos or something and everyone's just got a hand out like, can I have some? And I'm it was very familiar to me.
Like, go sit down, all of you. Right? We took sentences about why you should not steal people's roasts.
Yes. Come here. I've got a knife. Let me go get your own dang roast. But yeah, so next thing was that Calivorn and Kenrit, they finished out the whole breed eads stuff, all of the breed eads there. So we went around killing stuff in the marsh and everything. And at the end, Kenrit was done, but Calivorn still had some quests to do because that's part of that whole big deed is you have to do like 3 different levels of questing. And so he kind of had to do that on his own. And I did, and it was time consuming. Oh Lord. But tiny turtles running amok, I guess that helped. And it also helps that there are several quests and quest givers there that make you run back and forth, and you get like, oh, here's a quest, for completion, and now here's the next thing that you need to do, especially like the farm hand for Asphodel over there in Staddle. It's like she has you, okay, let's go help here, let's go help there, and you know what? How about we don't? And then, of course, I ran through Gondor with my main Calabathian. She is about ready for Pella?
Pelargir.
Yes. And it'll be my first time there. In the area, it did cause me a lot of questions there in that area of Gondor, like, how are half trolls made, Mommy?
Just no. No.
Carrie has forbidden this subject.
No, I can see why. I could see why, because I'm just like, what? I don't want to think about that.
Nobody wants to think about half trolls.
Yeah, and also during that area there, just before I got there, I met Pebble. There was a little thing where this dude lost his dog, and it's like, oh, her name is Pebble, and please go get her because, I can't lose my dog, and I can feel that I can't lose my cats, but Pebble is the second character in the game who loves sticks and moves slow as molasses, I found. So, Guarendis, how about you?
Well, I do have to say the last thing, though, but Pebble's a dog. She has an excuse.
Yes. She doesn't have any excuse for basically wandering around like a chicken with her head cut off. It's like, okay, let's go this way. Nope, she's going to go that way really slowly and just kind of wander and do lots of little twists and turns and then go around the house. And it's like, but you literally could find your person if you just, I don't know, sniff the ground, go directly there, but you don't want to do that.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
I'm just wondering if they ever someday give us a quest to escort a cat, how long that would take.
Oh, geez, Pine, don't give them that idea. And you have to escort it to Bree, to the cat lady's house.
Oh my gosh.
So my week started actually on a bit of a somber note, but it was a beautiful thing. I attended a memorial service in-game on Landreval for Joffrey, who had been a member of the Lonely Mountain Band, the Lonely Mountain Band, and was the band leader for Anduin Ensemble. There were so many characters from other servers that are involved with the music communities there that were there. And it was beautiful and moving. And one of those moments when I looked around and said, every single one of these characters has a person with a life attached to it. And we have all come together here and made this beautiful community that I'm sure we're all kind of appreciating these days because, well, there's no place else we can go to be with each other. But it was an amazing moment. That's all I would say. If you look on YouTube under Hollyberry, and I think she has it HOLLYBERY. I don't think she could get the two R's for YouTube, but she actually posted it. She's the one who would do the lyric writing with Joffrey, and he did the arranging, and she's going to take over Anduin Ensemble now. And as a bit of a palate cleanser, I went running around with a pair of hobbits in Wildemore trying to do deeding and watching dots go opposite directions, all three of us in a different direction at once. So the deeding
Welcome
took a
to
little
my
bit
world.
longer. Yes. And then later in the week, I did some warband and roving threat hunting with some of the girls of Middle Earth. We're helping one of our members make a more powerful LI and unlocked all of the Minas Tirith dailies, and then went after every warband we could see up on the field and went to Western Gondor and cleared out all of the warbands. Well, not all of the warbands, but all the roving threats there. Sans, what did you do this week?
Well, one of the things I did this week was go hunting big game. That was a lot of fun. I took my hunter and my burglar, and those were two very different experiences. Yeah, my hunter was fun and familiar, and my burglar almost got stomped by Kur'an, who is the most awesome warband outside of Minas Tirith. Also happens to be a Mumak. But yeah, apparently being in melee wearing medium armor is even more dangerous than I thought, even when I'm 25 levels over the content. So, that was fun. I used hips and then was still in a puddle and had to keep running. So, yeah. But we took down Karank before I died, and got to finish that deed for her, so that was cool. And I ran... Huh?
I was going to say, did you actually test out any Mumak nip since you were near one?
You know, I couldn't find any Mumak nip, but I sure wanted to.
Dang.
I ran after all the Mumaks holding up different things, but apparently I didn't have the right thing. And I ran lots of dailies for scrolls and crystals. Way more dailies than I've run in a while. And maxed out an LI for my Runekeeper. Her first maxed LI, so that's cool. But then I realized how many days I had to spend for the other LIs. I was like, I don't want to. So the other scrolls that I got were kind of spread out amongst my characters, because I was like, well, some of them are a little bit close, so I'll try. And I did some running through the maze, because I discovered that Sans only needs 215 more dragon. So hopefully she'll get some more dragon. How was your week, Arendis?
My week was good. It was the first time I saw from Steam. This was the first time I had actually been able to log into LOTRO in over a month and a half. So it was really nice to be able to just actually A, get logged back in, and B, just try to figure out what the heck everything means anymore. Just making sure that all of my skills still do what I think they're supposed to do, and just getting used to playing the game again. So one cool thing that happened was when I logged into one of my high elves, and I passed by just, a little mini concert, which was really cool, just having not been in game for so long and seeing that, yes, the community is still here and, still doing some fun things together. It was very comforting, to see that. And then I mostly just ran around in the Scuttle Dells, working on Volume 2, Book 9, Chapter 8 on my main champ for the first time. So,
Sam's his favorite part of Mirkwood.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
As I was going around trying to deal with some of those spiders, I thought, oh boy, especially because some of the spiders come out of stealth just randomly on top of you.
Right? It's so
which is
nice
great.
fun.
I know, we need to teach spiders some manners or something.
Rude.
Exactly. But that was the basic gist of my week. So, Pineleaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my burglar, who headed to Stoke and completely failed to track a man who was wearing a red gem. Then on Honor, my warden there snuck into Harwick to purchase a house for some refugees because for some reason he was exiled from the place. Harding just doesn't know what to do. And then during Friday Night Fights, we first ran Survival Barrel Downs. We lasted about 8 minutes in that. Then ran the Bells of Dale, which went reasonably well. And then finished it off with the Battle of the Way of Smiths, which went a lot better than the last time we attempted to run that particular instance. Because I think 2 weeks ago when I last reported something from Friday Night Fights, I think it was like a complete night of failure. This was a much more successful night. I mean, Survival Barrel Downs, you go into that expecting to be killed. And we all decided, okay, we got past 5 minutes. We'll call that a win. And that finishes my week in Lotro. So let's then head into News Beyond Lotro, where we have another poem by Darren Loremaster, Saruman cast out. The wizard speaks. Wood-splitting crack. The staff of Saruman, once black as ebony, splinters to dust. Betrayer of the holy trust. Perfidious liar. Now you'll see the wrack of all your plans to be. No longer gray. Gandalf the White stands forth, revealed to your sight. And from our order I cast you out, you Saruman. Here all about you lies in ruin, Isengard. Your faithlessness all men regard in its true light. Duplicitous fool! You are of Mordor, but the tool of Sauron. See, who once was wise, your perfidy. Therefore likewise from the White Council I expel yourself. As Doom's man, I this knell pronounce. You have no color left. Of sorcery you are bereft. Now trapped in Isengard, to leave your prison there, they first shall reave from you the key of Orthanc. Nay, there is no more I wish to say. So Gandalf left. Saruman stares out the wrecked Isengard. His lairs, which once bred Uruk-hai, are drowned by river waters. A profound despair of hopelessness gloom are now etched deeply in his tired brow. He sees his plans fallen away to ruin. All has gone astray. Gone is his power. Here, his throne, Orthanc's adamantine timeless stone, his tower, his prison. Now his cries and curses rend the cheerful skies. And so goes Saruman. We'll see what happens to him later. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help LOTRO players, you could go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. And your money will be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to wish to support on a single contribution without joining Patreon, you could send it to Draculeta at drac@lotroplayers.com. This week, we did not receive any emails, so if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTROplayers at LOTROplayers, Arendis at Arendis, Polyfit, Sandwinda at Sandwinda, Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin, Guarendis at Nidashell, and Calabathian at Calabathia.
Finally.
Finally. Yes. It took you less time than it took me. Yes. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can choice for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, and this is Pilot Nichols reminding you to skirmish responsibly.